Hello and welcome to The Wave from Ocean Reef, a podcast about the flow of life today and how you and I might ride with or swim against it. I'm Dan Meyer, Chaplain-in-Residence at the beautiful Ocean Reef community in Key Largo, Florida, and here's The Wave for today. Have you ever been watching a television program when the screen suddenly changed and an announcer's voice intoned, "We interrupt this program to bring you a special report"? I imagine you've had that experience. Well, this phenomenon is well documented in a best-selling book now. It's entitled, "We Interrupt This Broadcast: Reliving the Events That Stopped Our Lives." The author chronicles nearly 50 major news events of the last 100 years, each of which broke into the normal programming of our lives. Some interruptions were happy ones. Neil Armstrong's walk on the moon, for example, or the fall of the Berlin Wall. But some 90% of the events described fall into the unhappy category. For example, the untimely death of a popular figure, or an awful disaster, an act of terror, or the outbreak of war. The very word interruption tends to carry with it a negative connotation, doesn't it? "Don't interrupt me," we chide our kids. Or, "I could get this work done if there weren't all these interruptions," we complain. We hate it when there are interruptions in our wireless signal, or our airline schedule, or our best laid plans. Interruptions fall into the same category as disruptions, corruptions, and eruptions, which is to say, things to be avoided if we can. The story of Christmas, interestingly enough, is about people who found their lives suddenly interrupted. A peasant maiden named Mary finds herself with an unplanned pregnancy. Her fiancé Joseph finds his plans for a normal life completely thrown into disarray. Both of them are suddenly burdened by a governmental census and tax plan that requires that they leave their home and travel to the far-off town of Bethlehem at the most inconvenient time in their lives. To make matters worse, their journey gets interrupted by labor pains. And far from the support and the surroundings in which they would have chosen to have had their child, their baby is born. There is no crib. The stuffed animals nearby are alive, and they stink. Mary and Joseph lay their child in a feeding trough and sleep in a barn because there is no room for them at the Motel 8. Yet here is the mystery. This poor, unknown pair from the backwoods of the world will become the most famous couple in history. Their interrupted life will become the portal through which the light of the world comes. The child in the manger will go on to touch for good the lives of billions and billions of people. Awesome blessings from a parent Baines. When Harry's wife asked him to take their child to preschool, Harry ground his teeth. He knew he should be okay with this, but Harry was, after all, the CEO of a big company, and the task frankly felt, well, a little beneath him. Does my wife not get how much rides on what I do? Miles away, Susan's alarm clock failed to wake her. When she finally came to and saw how late it was, Susan went almost ballistic. "Why do these things always happen to me? My morning's wrecked." Away in another county, Bob was heading out to his car when he heard the telephone ring. Should he ignore it? "I don't have time for this," he groaned as he turned to run back inside and answer it. For Debbie, it was her dawdling child that interrupted the program. He took forever to get dressed, and now she'd be late dropping him off at childcare. Then there was the guy who missed his bus, and the woman who was caught in a fender bender, and another one who had to take time to change her clothes when she spilled food on them at breakfast. Every one of these people went through one of those palpitation-inducing interruptions of the kind that probably drive you and me crazy too often. Why do they upset us like that? Well, because we're somewhat important people. We've got places to go and things to do and plans to fulfill. We're out there trying to live the dream, or sometimes just to hold it all together. And so when our chosen channel gets interrupted, we get upset or even angry, just like all those people I mentioned above. As it turned out, however, those interruptions, which kept each of them from getting to work on time, on that particular morning, in their job at the World Trade Center, the morning of September 11th, 2001. Chances are that in days ahead, we will find some unwelcome circumstances breaking into our lives or those of people we love. Maybe the story of Christmas can provoke us to take a leap of faith. Perhaps we can dare to believe that these calamities might not be the disasters they seem, but may actually contain the seed of blessings whose full fruit we simply cannot yet see. That's today's Wave from Ocean Reef. If you know of others who might appreciate this sort of content, I hope you'll pass it along or encourage them to find me on Spotify, Apple, or other podcast outlets. Until next time, I'm Dan Meyer, hoping that the flow of life is good for you.